Well, sir, your new PC is done. What do you think of it?
It looks great. You got lots of lights in here, got a 4070 Ti. I was hoping to get more frames though.
Well, you can always upgrade to like, I don't know, a beefy card like a 4090. We could put that in there. That's the best of the best. It's literally the best card you can get.
Can I get more frames?
More frames than a 4090.
More frames!
I have an idea. It's the best way to get more frames. Come with me. Every gamer knows that RGB is essential to achieving more frames, and Lian Li listened and made an O11 Dynamic Evo RGB edition. Now, I have absolutely no idea what that entails, but we're gonna find out together as we unbox this new case. They've also sent us their brand new fans, the TL Edition Uni fans. One of these fans includes an LCD on the front of it, so we're gonna check that out and do a complete build in the new RGB version of this case. I'm also going to compare this new case to the previous O11 EVO. We'll do it a little side by side. That way you guys can check out the differences between the cases. I'm guessing it's gonna be pretty minimal. The O11 Dynamic EVO RGB, boom. First look at this new case. If I were the RGB, where would I be? Here on the bottom, strip on the top as well. I'm guessing some interesting integration, very, very subtle. I'm curious to see what it looks like fully turned on, but as of just me taking a look at this at a first glance, it looks like, I mean, it's an O11 EVO case. They've added some RGB strips to it. Is that fair? Everyone? Yes? Everyone's yelling yes.
You suck.
Now, as we prepare to do a full build in the O11 EVO RGB, which obviously gets you hella frames. Everyone knows RGB gets more frames. Just ask everyone in the PC Master Race subreddit. They'll tell you all about it. Very excited to use these brand new TL fans from Lian Li, one of which includes LCD screens. I think we're gonna use 3 of them back here as our intake fans. Now, what does it mean to have a reverse blade fans? Well, most of the time, people, when they're buying fans for their PC, they'll just buy however many they need of the same type of fan and install them. Problem with that is when you use these fans for intake fans, pulling in cold air, you're gonna see this grill on the back that's gonna be visible. We decided to go with this new reverse blade fan that Lian Li has come up with, where you will actually use these for your intake fans. It removes that grill so we can see the beautiful new LCD screen. We're gonna mount 3 of them at the back, and then we are going to fill in all of our exhaust fans with these. Can't wait to do it. Now, I suspected that the only difference between this new O11 EVO RGB and your classic O11 EVO was primarily the RGB, right? In fact, we left our hella frames sticker here so we could identify this is the new case that we're talking about, the O11 EVO RGB, and this is your classic O11 EVO. I thought RGB was the only difference, but upon further inspection, I think I may be wrong, just from a glance, and I want to dig through them, and the best way to do that, open them up! Removing the side panel here, and in O11, I was gonna say in O11 EVO fashion, there's a screw up here that we removed to take the glass off, but I don't need this. They've made it so you can literally just get your thumb in there and pop the side panel off. My goodness, God bless you, Lian Li. That is just fantastic. One less screw to worry about. We like that. Your classic O11 EVO, what does that require, boys and girls? A screwdriver, that's right. I can hear you saying that at home. There is a little screw here that we've got to undo. It's fine, it's just one Phillips screw, but you know, it's just one less thing to worry about, so good on you guys for that. Let's take a look at some of the differences between these cases, and just for clarity so we can all remember which system we're talking about. Grommets. One thing that you'll notice here, now they're present in the O11 EVO, but they've added these grommets to the bottom, which is great. Also, it's a different style, a little bit thicker. Look at that, you like that? You can kind of see the difference. No grommets here at the bottom. And you'll also notice, just by looking at it, some more attention to detail on the white case here. You can see that there's some white cables, whereas on the original O11 EVO, they've used black cables, black cage for the hard drive. So you can see here kind of the difference. The O11 EVO in white has these black accents of black cables, black cage for your drives. The RGB version, they've spent a little bit more attention to detail. You've got white cables, you've got the EVO branded cable ties, nice white cages to match. One thing that I am noticing too is that you'll notice that the cage here And the power supply section, it doesn't protrude at all from the case. It's all pretty flush against the backside. We're seeing it protrude a little bit here, and I'm curious what the reasoning is behind that. I'm sure there's very good reason, because just at a glance as well, if you look at the size of these cases, they are not the same size. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger. This is actually pretty standard with the refresh of some of these Lian Li cases, like the Dynamic XL, is there's a support bar here that's removable. The idea with this is, I believe, is to protect the system a little bit more in shipping and transit. So some subtle design changes there. You'll notice you've got these protectors on the back in the case that you don't mount any fans or a radiator back here. It has just this nice shroud to protect from seeing any mess going on in the back there. You required a screw to be removed to take the front and side panel off on the original O11 EVO case. This new improved design just pops right off, and then removing this cornerstone, very simple as well. Just a few screws and we can get that out of there. And personally, like with my builds, I don't really want a full column obstructing the view of the PC that I've just put together. You could also mount your hard drive to the back of the case as well. This swings right open, allows you to remove it so you can easily mount your hard drives there, or just take them out if you want. And Lian Li, as usual, always very, very thoughtful with how the case operates and functions. This quick release, same as the O11 EVO. If you need to take this out and work with it, get your radiator installed, they've made it very, very simple to do that. Another slight update that has been made with this new RGB version of the case, you have color, brightness buttons, as well as the mode, reset, and power buttons. On your traditional O11 EVO, just mode and color. Some other things to click with your fingers they've added here, very nice. If you want to see the final build, let's roll the build montage first. If you're not into that, you can skip ahead to the final thoughts, but I recommend, for now, you stay a while. Let's roll it. Wow, it's built. How'd that happen? We're back with the O11 EVO RGB. So many things to talk about this case. I could tell you all of the feedback that our builder had on this, or we could just bring in the guy that actually built the PC. I've got Chris here. Hi, Chris. How you doing? And this is Chris's latest build, and I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts on what you thought about it. Feedback. Let's just roll through it. What'd you like? What didn't you like?
Obviously, I do a lot of Evo systems, so it's exciting to see that there's always like a constant improvement in some way, shape, or form. Main difference, of course, that everyone's been asking about is this corner posts being removable here.
Yes.
So you can take that out. From a building standpoint, cable management and little details, white I/O cables on the white case, larger wire grommets and openings to route things around the case. They have some extra cable management covers. Instead of being like a removable piece, it's now a nice little hinged door. Just little things that just, clean up the process, make it a little quicker.
And speaking of cable management, this is something that I noticed when we unboxed the case, but I was curious because this back here protrudes a little bit near the power supply and where the storage is, and I was like, I wonder why they did that. Well, I guess this is to actually create some extra room in this second area for more of your cables to be managed. And then I saw this too. I was like, why are there these tie-offs right here on the power supply? And this is actually intended to help manage the cables coming from your I/O, so you can really manage everything, not just inside the PC, but also what you're plugging in to the I/O ports as well. So I thought that was kind of cool. Give me your feedback on these new Lian Li fans.
The new ones are the Lian Li TL series, so the previous generations up at the top with the SL fans. So they do have a new controller for them and a new pinout. as well as their higher power. So instead of being like 2 SATA powers, it's now a 6-pin PCIe. So basically these LEDs are going to be much, much brighter than just what standard 5-volt ARGB LEDs would look like. So that color difference of the top older fans versus the newer ones, that's kind of why they might seem to pop a little bit more.
You can really see the difference. I mean, these are super, super bright. In fact, we did a couple builds in Fantex cases with the Fantex fans, and they kind of remind me of Fantex's new design too. I mean, just super, super bright. Looks great. Love it.
Yep, and so you got the TL bottom fans and the TL LCD fans in the back, and those are the ones with the screens on them that are currently running. They are on the same controller as the other TL fans, so I would speculate that in the future we will see some Infinity TL type fans as well.
Nice, can't wait. Now they call this the RGB edition for a reason, right? And so when I initially unboxed it, I was actually very interested to see this lit up. These diffused lighting bars on the top, and it actually wraps around the entire case as well. Turned out awesome. I mean, dude, it looks freaking great.
Yeah, they did a really good job concealing that in the case so that it looks really well diffused. You can't see the diodes, which I know a lot of people don't like seeing in RGB.
I hate that.
So yeah, it's a great look. It does wrap all the way around to this front vertical pillar over here, and so you do have animations that can either come from the corner or wrap the whole way around the case, which is cool. You kind of have more options there.
I wish that we had a 420 millimeter radiator up top, like
Right,
kind of
yeah.
one thing I maybe would have done different.
They do exist, but they're hard to get these days. They're definitely something that's newer in the industry, so maybe in the future we'll see.
Lian Li, send us one of those. We'll put it in
Definitely.
here. All right, well, this is driving me nuts. I want to get this pillar out of here, and then we can talk. Well, first we're going to show you what it looks like with the pillar removed, and then we'll talk about maybe some of the cons on this build as well. But let's turn some screwdrivers. Let's get this thing out of here.
Let's get to it.
All together, big exhale. It's out. This is how this case was meant to be enjoyed in my professional opinion, or personal opinion if you don't care about my professional opinions. You want to get to the cons, or con, I guess.
Yeah, there's definitely not many, that's for sure.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Let's talk about it, because I know you had kind of mentioned something, and I want you to explain.
Again, cons don't go too far for these cases. O11's been around for a long, long time for a reason. The form factor wise, now that people are trying to fit 140 fans into every open fan slot, we do run into a limitation of space as far as how this back bracket is working here. It does say it supports the three 140 millimeter fans here, but as you can see, we kind of had to not include the top and bottom screws just to make sure that that centers on the bracket and fits within the height of the case.
So potential improvement would be adding the ability to screw in those different spots.
Right, maybe a different bracket of sorts. I know for the top, when you would go to swap the radiator out, they do have a 140 specific bracket. So if there was something similar for the back, that'd be great.
That's pretty light criticism, all things considered.
And we still got them. They fit. They're not going anywhere, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a great thing about Lian Li. I mean, they've taken something that has worked for, gosh, a freaking decade now.
Yeah.
When the original O11 came out, like they've constantly made these improvements to it, and they're all things that make sense. Like, you know, they're all updated to be current with the times and adding more RGB, which obviously adds just so many more frames.
So many.
And I think we're even thinking about internally switching to using the RGB version of the case, because they've had so many, you know, they're small little incremental updates to it.
Yeah, but it adds up, and this is a great case offering, that's for sure.
Love it. Very good. Final thoughts. Do you like the case?
Love it.
I love it. Kyle, behind the camera, do you love it? Yeah, he loves it. We all love it. This was an awesome, awesome case. Good addition. We really had a lot of fun building in it, and we'll look forward to future builds in it as well. We're looking at stocking this and kind of refreshing our own lineup. So.
Maybe a water cooled of sorts.
Ooh, did you hear that? Something to look forward to. Chris is going to work on a water cooled builds. Make sure you like and subscribe to check that out. Good stuff. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. See you next time.